Namaskar and welcome to the news tonight here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. US dossier gives fresh impetus to the NIA probe into the Pathankot airbase attack, nails the Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists and details how the strike was micromanaged from Pakistan. Home Minister Rajnath Singh makes an aerial survey of flood-hit areas in Assam, promises all possible assistance to the state. Bihar, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh and West Bengal too report heavy flooding. Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari emphasizes on the importance of the upper house in the parliamentary system, cautions new MPs against disruptions in the House proceedings. And ahead of the introduction of the Goods and Services Tax Bill in Rajya Sabha next week, political parties hope the government will address their concerns on the bill. First, strengthening India's case in the Pathankot airbase attack, the United States has reportedly given crucial evidence to the National Investigation Agency. In a 1,000-page dossier, it has detailed conversations between the attackers and their handler Kashif Jan. The dossiers make it clear that the terror strike on Pathankot airbase was micromanaged from Pakistan, like in the case of the 2008 Mumbai attacks.
Clinching evidence now coming from the US indicates how Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists carried out the Pathankot airbase attack. Media reports say the US has handed over a 1,000-page dossier to the National Investigation Agency. It mentions in great detail chats and conversations among the Pathankot airbase attackers and their handler Kashif Jan. The evidence suggests the attackers were in constant touch with handlers through social media networks.
Therefore, now the time has come, US should go beyond these dossiers and I think impose sanctions, rigorous sanction on Pakistan. Only then they would understand. They should cut off all military and financial assistance which they give to Pakistan and put pressure on Pakistan that they should hand over Hafiz Saeed to India.
The four militants communicated with their handler about 18 times in the ATR attack. In June, the NIA seemed to suggest it found no evidence to prove the involvement of Pakistan or any Pakistani agency in the attack. The US dossier will perhaps now strengthen India's case ahead of Home Minister Rajnath Singh's visit to Islamabad next week for the SAARC Interior and Home Ministers Conference.
I don't think Pakistan worries about whether we get them a 1,000-page dossier or 2,000-page or 10-page, 20-page. It doesn't matter to them. They know that they will not act upon it. Hafiz Saeed and all are very important people, Mushkar Jangvi and Hafiz Saeed and everyone. And they will not, they're very useful assets for Pakistan and Pakistan Army in particular.
On January 2nd this year, 4 terrorists carried out a suicide attack on the Indian Air Force base at Pathankot in Punjab. They killed 8 Indian soldiers before being shot dead in a gun battle. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now in more news, Home Minister Rajnath Singh visited Assam today and conducted an aerial survey of the flood-hit areas. Singh was accompanied by Chief Minister of the state, Sarbanand Sonowal. Meanwhile, Bihar, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh and West Bengal too continue to suffer from floods. Heavy rains in Karnataka also now is pushing parts of downstream Tamil Nadu closer to inundation.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday conducted an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas of Nagaon, Moregaon and Kaziranga in Assam. Singh also visited the Bhagatgaon camp to meet flood-affected residents. He was accompanied by Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal and Union Minister Jitendra Singh. The Home Minister has assured full financial help from the centre to the state.
जैसा मुख्यमंत्री जी ने बताया कि स्टेट डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फंड में लगभग 600 करोड़ रुपए की धनराशि सरकार के पास है। मैंने कहा कि जनता की सेवा में हाथ खोलकर पैसा खर्च करिए। जो भी आगे भारत सरकार के सहयोग की आवश्यकता होगी, भारत सरकार पूरी तरह से सहयोग करेगी।
The flooding in the state has affected 19 lakh people and displaced about 5 lakh, who have taken shelter at over 500 relief camps. The death toll stands at 21. The severe floods have caused massive damage to infrastructure, including to roads and bridges. Almost 90% of the Kaziranga National Park is submerged in water.
एनडीआरएफ की टीम समय से यहां पहुंची है और इस समय एनडीआरएफ की 60 नौकाएं लोगों की जिंदगी को बचाने में लगी हुई हैं।
The situation in Bihar is dire too. Rising water levels in the Mahananda River has led to flooding in Katihar, Purnia and Kishanganj. So far, at least 26 people have died in flood-related incidents in the state. More than 20 lakh people are affected.
लिखा है जहाँ पर गांव है, घर है, टोला है, मोहल्ला है, वहाँ पर कहीं आके कुछ नहीं देखना है, सिर्फ बांध पर आते हैं, बांध पर से ही कैमरा अपना जो है सो वहाँ से वीडियोग्राफी किए वो आराम से वहाँ से चले जाते हैं। वादा तो करते हैं कि कल दे रहे हैं, परसों दे रहे हैं, आज तक पानी का भी व्यवस्था नहीं है।
In Uttar Pradesh, all major rivers of the Tarai region continue to flow either above or near the danger mark due to the continuous rain. More than 800 villages have been inundated due to the overflowing Rapti river. The administration has established 41 relief camps in the affected districts.
बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है, सभी रास्ते जाम हो गए हैं और खास करके जूही पुल यहाँ पर हमेशा की हालात रहे हैं कि इतना पानी भर जाता है कि निकलना दुश्वार होता है, गाड़ियाँ डूब जाती हैं।
Meanwhile, heavy rains in Karnataka has led to an increased inflow of water into rivers and lakes in Krishnagiri and Salim districts of Tamil Nadu. Flood alert has been issued in low-lying areas near the South Pennar River in Krishnagiri district of Tamil Nadu. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the traffic situation in Gurugram eased on Saturday, but continuous downpour has ensured that vehicular movement remains slow. Authorities have finally, of course, sprung into action after facing criticism from the public as well as other political parties.
Motorists travelling to and from Gurugram for work had a sense of relief on Saturday as the traffic jams that had plagued the Millennium City somewhat eased up on Saturday. However, several parts of the city remain waterlogged.
प्रशासन सारा चालू कर रहा है, देखो सबकी तरफ काम हो रहा है, पानी भी निकल गया आज। वहाँ बारिश भी कम है, यहाँ पर पानी भी नहीं है। आज चल रहा है सारी तरफ, इधर भी चल रहा है ट्रैफिक, कल उधर भी चल रहा है। कल तो दोनों तरफ बंद था।
प्रशासन जैसे काम कर रही सही कर रही है। अभी तक जनता बहुत परेशान थी, बहुत दिक्कत होती थी, बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी। अब जो हो रहा है सही हो रहा है।
अगर प्रशासन इसको ध्यान पहले दे ले कि भी बारिश के मौसम से पहले कहाँ क्या क्या करना है, वो यहाँ कहीं न कहीं नहीं हो पाया, जिसके चलते ये सब हुआ है। और अब तो सरकार भी पुरानी हो चुकी, तो हमें लगता है हमारे मंत्री साहब भी लोकल ही हैं, तो उनको इन चीजों पे जरूर ध्यान देना चाहिए।
The Haryana government, National Highway Authority of India, State Police and Gurgaon Development Authority have sprung into action. Workers were seen manually clearing the potholes and waterlogged roads. The municipal corporation has identified 14 crucial areas and have deployed officials to handle the situation if problems arise.
हमने शहर में 14 क्रूशल पॉइंट्स जहां पिछले दिनों दिक्कत आई थी और उसके अलावा जहां दिक्कत आ सकती है वो हमने आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं। हर पॉइंट पे हमने एक इंस्पेक्टर रैंक के अधिकारी को, चाहे वो एसएचओ है या किसी और यूनिट में लगे हुए हैं, उनको हमने डिप्लॉय किया है और उनके साथ कम से कम 10 या 20 या 30 जितनी जिस पॉइंट पे रिक्वायरमेंट है उतनी एडिशनल फोर्स दी है।
सिटी की सारी ड्रेनेज सिस्टम वो सारी देखने वाली है। हमारा काम तो नेशनल हाईवे का है, हम नेशनल हाईवे ही बनाते हैं, इसके लॉन्ग ड्रेन बनाते हैं। नेशनल हाईवे का जो ड्रेन है वो उतना ही पानी लेगा जो हमारी हाईवे के ऊपर आएगा। हाईवे का पानी है, पूरे सिटी का पानी हमारा ड्रेन नहीं ले सकता। तो सिटी की ड्रेनेज सिस्टम को दे विल हैव टू री-एग्जामिन and properly construct that drainage system.
However, political parties are busy playing a blame game. The current government has passed the buck on to its predecessor. The state government has now assured residents and commuters of early solution to the matter.
में तो निश्चित रूप से हमारी सरकार है, इसका उत्तरदायित्व तो हम स्वीकार करेंगे। परंतु ये जो समस्या मिली, ये इतनी भयावह समस्या मिली हमें पूर्व की सरकार से, जिन्होंने इस पर कुछ भी काम नहीं किया था। दूसरा, दिल्ली में जो नॉर्दर्न पेरिफेरल रोड बनना चाहिए, आज तक दिल्ली में उस पर कुछ काम नहीं हुआ, नजगढ़ नाले की सफाई नहीं हुई और हमारी तैयारी जो और बेहतर कर सकते थे उसको नहीं हो पाएगा, उसको और बेहतर करेंगे। परंतु हमने इसका स्थायी समाधान देने के लिए हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। मैंने आपको बताया हीरोंडा चौक पर काम चल रहा है, सिग्नेचर टावर पर चीजें शुरू होने वाली है, बादशाहपुर जो रोड है जिसको सोना रोड कहते हैं उस पर काम हम बेहतर कर रहे हैं। तो आने वाले समय में मैं कहता हूं कि 2-3 साल में इसका परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन हम ढूंढ लेंगे।
With several promises made and hundreds of men at work, residents are now hopeful that the situation will improve by Monday when they have to venture out. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, heavy rains also wreaked havoc in neighbouring Nepal, causing massive floods and landslides. The Nepalese army was called in to help as monsoon rains killed 80 people and several others have gone missing. India has said that it was ready to provide any support that the country might need to deal with the floods.
Nearly 80 people killed in floods and landslides triggered by incessant rain since Monday in several districts of eastern, central and western Nepal. Bulletin district in western Nepal is the worst hit, where 36 people have died due to landslide and floods. At least 43 people have gone missing. Scores of houses and bridges have been swept away in several parts of the country as incessant rains have swelled rivers. Army personnel have been deployed for rescue and relief operations in 14 flood-affected districts. Soldiers and volunteers are using rubber boats to rescue people marooned by the flooding. Helicopters are also seen rescuing people stranded on the banks of the Rapti River and also to drop food supplies. Indian government has also assured help to its landlocked neighbour. MEA said on Friday, India expresses deep sorrow at the loss of life and property in the current spate of floods and landslides in Nepal. The Government of India stands ready to provide any assistance that may be requested by the Government of Nepal to mitigate the suffering of the people. Water levels are also close to dangerous along the Saptkoshi and Narayani rivers. The situation is particularly desperate this year because millions of Nepalis are still living in tents or makeshift huts after the devastating earthquake last year that killed nearly 9,000 people. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to other news, and all political parties are keeping their fingers crossed on the goods and services tax bill that is likely to be introduced in Rajya Sabha next week. Hoping that there will be a discussion on the bill next week, Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi today said a common consensus has almost emerged among all political parties for the passage of the bill.
Ahead of the likely introduction of the goods and services tax bill in the Rajya Sabha next Tuesday, almost all political parties seem to have given their consent to it, but with some riders.
सभी राजनीतिक दलों से बहुत विस्तार से बातचीत हुई है और भी हो रही है, और हमें लगता है कि अरुण जेटली जी बात कर रहे हैं और भी पार्टी के तमाम वरिष्ठ नेता जो केंद्र सरकार के हैं वो बात कर रहे हैं, और हमें लगता है कि लगभग आम सहमति जीएसटी को लेकर के बन गई है.
News reports quoted sources stating that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a strategy meeting with top ministers on the issue. But the main opposition Congress and some other parties are reportedly seeking certain amendments in the bill.
GST is our baby. From the very beginning, we wanted GST to be passed. We have done the homework, speaking to the state governments, wherever there were doubts and clearing doubts and taking everybody together. This long process of consensus building was done by UPA government, and the bill was also brought by that government. We suggested 3 points. They are now almost coming around that 3 points. Why they did not concede this previously, they have to answer. Why it was delayed, then it is up to them to explain. We were never against GST.
The Janata Dal United and its ally the RJD seem to be backing the bill, while the Samajwadi Party has expressed reservations over a couple of provisions including the income of municipal bodies.
There were certain issues regarding 1% additional tax, regarding rate of 18% or 22-25%, and third, the grievance redressal mechanism, whether it should be within the GST structure or should be outside it. I think these are the kind of issues Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha must address, and that's a welcome step, because this is something where government should have reached out to opposition much before than right now.
बात अरुण जेटली जी करें, कुछ हमारी भी शंकाएं हैं, कुछ समस्या जीएसटी पर हैं. उन्होंने अरेस्ट का प्रावधान जीएसटी में रख दिया है. नगर पालिकाओं की आमदनी का क्या होगा, ये सब चीज़ें हैं जिसको जीएसटी पे बिल पे उन्हें क्लियर करना चाहिए, और अगर वो क्लियर कर देंगे तो हम समर्थन करेंगे, नहीं तो हम लोग उस समय निर्णय लेंगे.
Party leaders have expressed hope that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will continue discussions on the bill and allay their concerns in the GST bill. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the curfew in Kashmir continues to affect normal life after the widespread violence that was sparked off by the killing of militant Burhan Wani earlier this month. And according to police officials, curfew was lifted from most parts of the valley, but restrictions on assembly of 4 or more people continues in the entire valley. Shops remained shut while roads remained largely deserted as most residents chose to stay indoors in Srinagar. However, curfew was reimposed on Wednesday after separatists announced a march in Kulgam town. At least 46 people were killed and more than 5,000 wounded, including Indian security forces in the violence. More than 300 people suffered injuries because of pellet guns, including 171 with eye injuries, further fueling the anger against the forces and the government. Without a quick break here, we'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
As long as the Krida is sustainable, our country's food security is sustainable. If flood comes, drought comes, any eventuality happens, everybody has something in their hand. But farming community is the most suffering. Seeing the farmers, experiences with the poor farmers, villages, then made me to attempt to give best out of this rain-fed agriculture, best out to the country in the whole.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Cherukumalli Srinivasa Rao, Director, Krida, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. Now, Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari emphasized the importance of the upper house in the parliamentary system. Addressing new MPs of Rajya Sabha at an orientation session today, he also cautioned against disruptions in the House proceedings, saying that the job of Parliament is to legislate, deliberate and hold the government accountable.
The states have certain interests which are not necessarily always reflected in the other House of Parliament. The representation in Rajya Sabha is on the basis of states. And therefore, it is expected, and it does happen on great many occasions, that individual states' interests are flagged in Rajya Sabha.
Addressing the two-day orientation session for new MPs of the upper house, Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari emphasized the importance of the second house in the parliamentary system. He also urged members of parliament to give importance to the work of standing committees.
I would request you to pay much greater attention to committees, because your real input will come in there. You need careful scrutiny. What is the meaning of a particular piece of legislation? What is the meaning of a word or expression? Ultimately, all of it is subject to judicial scrutiny.
Both the chairman and the deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha expressed concern over the incidents of disruption of House proceedings.
Coming into the well is not parliamentary tactic. It is holding the House to ransom for the interest of an individual or a group.
Coming to the well and shouting slogans, will it serve any purpose? Some people think that by coming to the well and shouting slogans, their names will be published, newspapers will publish, and nowadays it will be bulletinized also, in the bulletin also. See, that kind of an attitude to get publicity, either this way or that way, that will not make a good parliamentarian.
The two-day program aims to familiarize new members with various aspects of the functioning of Parliament, especially the Rajya Sabha, through lectures delivered by veteran parliamentarians. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in fact, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari also termed education as a fundamental precondition of a democracy. He also said that education is instrumental for any individual's personal and political development. The Vice President was addressing a seminar organized by his alma mater, Aligarh Muslim University, in New Delhi on Friday.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari has stressed on the need of educational progress, starting with the quality, elementary, secondary and skills education for all segments of the society. Addressing a seminar to commemorate the 125th anniversary of Aligarh Muslim University's Duty Society, the Vice President also said that education for all is the only answer to our country's operative slogan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas.
Despite all the government and societal efforts, the overall literacy rate in the year 2011 was 73%, with a noticeable gap between the male literacy at 80.9% and female literacy at 64.8%.
The Vice President said while enrollment in elementary education was high, the quality and learning outcomes were poor. According to government reports, only 17% of religious minority children complete secondary education as compared to the general average of 26%. He also added that Muslims form the smallest percentage among those who complete matriculation in the country.
With a notice, then is the challenge. It also means that despite initiatives of successive governments, the corrective in its totality cannot come from the government alone and has to be supported and supplemented by public and community initiatives.
Vice President Ansari quoted facts stated in the Rajya Sabha that in March, 6 million children in the country opted out of school in 2014, and of these, 76% belong to the scheduled tribe, scheduled caste and religious minorities. This is Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's what else made news across the country in Nationwide. The Indian Army foiled an infiltration bid along the line of control in Kupwara today, killing 2 militants, but 2 soldiers were also killed while another was injured. 2 AK rifles, 1 under-barrel grenade launcher and other warlike stores were recovered from the scene of the gun battle. This is the second infiltration bid in Nogam sector this week. 7 Maoist rebels were arrested in Dumka district of Jharkhand in a series of raids. The rebels were wanted in several cases. Police recovered walkie-talkies, a truckload of medicines, Maoist literature and uniforms from the insurgents. They hope to obtain substantial leads from the interrogation of the arrested rebels and nab other associates. Uttar Pradesh was today awarded 622.76 crore rupees as drought assistance. Rajasthan and Manipur were also granted assistance as they faced natural calamities earlier this year. The grants were approved by a high-level committee headed by Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh, Union Home Secretary Rajiv Mehrishi and other senior officers attended the meeting. Pro-Kannada activists have called for a bandh across Karnataka against the Mahadayi River Tribunal rejecting Karnataka's plea for water. Several parts of the state, including Bengaluru, observed a complete shutdown, with transport services staying unavailable between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Mahadayi Water Dispute Tribunal had rejected Karnataka's plea, seeking 7.5 thousand million cubic water for the Kalasa Banduri project. Amrita Dhawan was today chosen as the president of the National Students' Union of India. She succeeds Rosie M. John to the post for a 2-year term. Amrita Dhawan's name was finalized from among a list of half a dozen finalists. She was elected as the Delhi University Students' Union Secretary in 2004, before becoming the Vice President in 2005 and then becoming the President in 2006. Her selection is intended to help the Congress win over young voters in the election-bound states of Punjab and Uttar Pradesh. And talking of elections in the US, both presidential candidates, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, hit the campaign trail in the race to the White House. Clinton campaigned in Ohio and Pennsylvania, while Trump campaigned in Colorado. Trump, in fact, accused Clinton of telling lies at the recently held Democratic convention and said that he was taking his gloves off in the race against his opponent. Meanwhile, US media reported Clinton's presidential campaign was hacked as part of a larger cyber attack against the Democratic Party.
With the formality of nomination over, both US presidential candidates hit the campaign trail to the White House. Speaking at a rally in Colorado Springs, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump said he does not need to be nice to his Democratic rival Hillary Clinton. Trump alleged that Hillary told lies at the Democratic National Convention, besides slamming her on the email controversy.
I've been nice, but after watching that performance last night, such lies, I don't have to be so nice anymore. I'm taking the gloves off, right? Yes? Take the gloves off. Just remember this. Trump is going to be no more Mr. Nice Guy. Tell Hillary I'm not going to be nice anymore. I've been very nice to her.
Trump also presented himself as the better candidate, saying he had the right temperament to lead the nation.
I think I have the best temperament, or certainly one of the best temperaments, of anybody that's ever run for the office of president, ever. Because I have a winning temperament, I know how to win. Because my whole life I've been winning.
An upbeat Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, launched a campaign tour in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Clinton, who is vying to become the first female US president, said the country faced a stark choice in the November election.
There is no doubt in my mind that every election in our democracy is important in its own way, but I can't think of an election that is more important, certainly in my lifetime. And it's not so much that I'm on the ticket, it is because of the stark choice that is posed to America in this election.
Meanwhile, the US media reported that Clinton's presidential campaign was hacked as part of a larger cyber attack against Democratic Party institutions. US officials widely believe that the cyber attacks were committed by agents working for the Russian government. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more international news updates in Global Buzz. Belgian police arrested 2 men suspected of planning an attack in the country following raids on late Friday. Belgium is on high alert following the deadly March bombings in Brussels, which were claimed by the Islamic State, and also a wave of deadly attacks last month in France and Germany. However, no weapons or explosives were found in the raids. Turkish army killed 35 Kurdish militants after they attempted to storm a base in the southeastern Hakkari province. The militants attempted to take the base in 3 different groups, but were spotted by aerial reconnaissance. The overnight attacks came hours after clashes in Hakkari between soldiers and militants from the Kurdistan Workers' Party that left 8 soldiers dead. Armenian police clashed with supporters of an armed group barricaded with hostages inside a police station. 3 gunmen were wounded, while as many as 60 protesters were injured, out of which 40 are still in hospital. More than 100 people were detained by the police. The group had seized the police station on the 17th of July, killing 1 policeman and taking several hostages. And now let's get you all the latest from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Sri Lanka registered its second test victory against Australia by securing a 106-run win in the first test at Palakkal. The last time a Lankan side secured a test win over Kangaroos was in 1999. Chasing a target of 268, the Kangaroos were bundled out for a mere 161. Lanka's win was spearheaded by Rangana Herath, who took 9 wickets, and Lakshan Sandakan, who took 7 wickets. Kusal Mendes, who scored a career best of 176 in the second innings. In 3-match test series, the Lankans now have a 1-0 lead. 10th-seeded Frenchman Gael Monfils brilliantly knocked out his 4th-seeded opponent Milos Raonic in straight sets 6-4, 6-4 at the Rogers Cup in Toronto in Canada. Monfils set up a semi-final against top-seeded Novak Djokovic, who beat Thomas Berdych 7-6, 6-4 in an error-riddled match. Meanwhile, Swiss second-seeded Stan Wawrinka advanced to the semi-finals at the Rogers Cup with a comprehensive 6-1, 6-3 victory over South African Kevin Anderson. Wawrinka will next face Japanese third-seed Kei Nishikori, who battled past unseeded Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov 6-3, 3-6, 6-2 in the last 8. Russia's weightlifting team has been barred from competing at the Rio Olympics in August over doping offences. The International Weightlifting Federation said that some of the Russian competitors had been named in a report commissioned by the WADA, which exposed evidence of state-backed cheating in Russia. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thank you for joining us.